So hi, welcome to the nice podcast with Palm Tree Square. We're gonna ask them some questions today. I'm gonna start. So, what inspired you guys to start the band, and what does the band name mean?
Okay, so they know this story. Um, so what inspired the band was I was at the time, just a few months prior, I was in a progressive rock band called Shadow Wall. We never made a record or anything, but we played for like 3 years, and we played all over Florida for the most part. Just some high school buddies, but eventually, after 3 years, I was like, actually, I kind of want to do my own thing. I've got some ideas, and so I sort of started writing these songs, like all the songs that were on our first EP, self-titled EP. And I was like, I need a band for this. I can't just do this myself. So each of the band members, besides Elliot we hired later on, Ash and Tommy were buddies of mine who I've known from our hometown in Daytona Beach. So they were both in bands prior to this too. So it's kind of like a super group almost from the Daytona area. It's funny because Tommy had never played bass before of the band. But I wanted Tommy desperately for my band because he's incredible. So I'm like, what's the possibility that you could learn the bass to play in my emo band?
Yeah, I remember that. It was like right after one of his shows in Shadow Wall. Like I used to be a huge fan of the Daytona scene, and I'd just come out to all the shows, and Steven just comes up to me and he's like, so I got this little side project. I know you don't play bass, but would you like to learn bass and join my band? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to join your band.
That's kind of how it went. That's a very good summary of it. But yeah, so we're a band of buddies, and it's been a super blessing because of that. Elliot's really the only stranger that we had at first. We held auditions after we parted ways with our old rhythm guitarist, and he was incredible. We had him over for a practice that we did not really a rehearsal audition that we didn't really put together very well.
Rehearsal.
Yeah.
Quote unquote rehearsal.
We kind of just jammed for 45 minutes, and then I took each of the band members aside. I was like, "You guys want Elliot? I want Elliot."
Yeah. We were all at my house in my garage, and you were like, "Come here, group meeting," and we all gather in my kitchen while Elliot's still sitting in the garage by himself, and he's like,
"So what do you think?"
And I'm like,
Yeah,
the hot garage.
He's like, you think he's pretty good? Yeah, I think he's pretty good.
all right. Let's take him.
But yeah, so that's the very brief history of the band up until now, the present day. And so the band name, it's funny because I originally envisioned PTS to be a solo acoustic project, and because it was something that I was very into Dashboard Confessional at the time, and the whole singer-songwriter type deal was really appealing to me. But the songs I was writing kind of it felt more alive in a full band setting the more I composed them. So originally the band name was Palm Trees Evergreens. Palm Trees, Evergreens. Something very indie-centric and very outdoorsy, you know. But I don't know, there was something about it that, like, once I got into the full band setting, it seemed a little too, like, I don't know. I don't know what the word is for it, but it didn't really fit the vibe, I guess. And so, I don't know if you guys watch Let's Plays at all. What?
I think Palm Tree Evergreen sounds like a very, like, you know, very soft acoustic indie person. Solo, just playing his acoustic guitar and whisper singing to you. You know?
yeah. Like Ash was doing before Glory joined.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't know if you guys watch Let's Plays at all, but I was watching a Sonic Let's Play, and there is a location in the game called Palm Tree Square, and I heard the commentator say it. I'm like, immediately, like bells went off in my head. I was like, that's really catchy. That's really like kind of like what I was going before, but catchier than the previous name. And it seemed like, something that people could abbreviate to BTS, something that's like catchy, can like it's rolls off the tongue well, memorable in a way, and so it just kind of stuck. And so that's when I hired everybody, I pitched the name to them saying Palm Tree Square, the indie emo math rock band, and everybody was like, all right. Cool. No one contested me on it, so it was a good enough name, I think. Yeah. Right, guys?
I was like, yeah, I'm on board.
I have to say, most of my friends were like, okay. Yeah. That's the name.
Oh no.
I mean, it's a name. It's not offensive. It
Works.
It fits the brand now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna run with the name. I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. Yeah, right. Can't complain.
I think we're a little too far ahead to rebrand, but crazy things could happen.
I don't know, Steven. I was thinking about it, and maybe we could be a Palm Tree Circle.
Yo,
Why?
that's a
Whoa.
crazy rebranding. Watch out there. Circle merch.
I'm
Circle
just saying.
t-shirts,
Jay, what do you
Circle.
think? Lori?
Listen, I've got all the
I think it's
ideas
winter.
here. Yeah, hire me to do your merch design. Circle everything. You ever heard of Circle hoodies? No, you haven't. Now you have.
Oh my gosh. That's an excellent idea.
Thank you. I know.
Wow.
Came up with
Guys,
it
we
myself.
Meet in my
I
kitchen
got
and
it.
talk this over again.
Guys, okay. All right, Ash,
Am I in the
what do you
band
think?
yet?
Band meeting.
Tell me I'm in the band.
Take the camera.
Oh my god, now's the time for a band meeting. Can you guys come back?
I think I hear it. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we might be too far along.
Okay, deal. Great. All right. So,
All right, we thought about it. We debated about it. Palm Tree Circle, stupid. Palm Tree Square forever.
I was so close. I'm
didn't
gonna
say
go
it like
pitch it to the
that.
next
We just
band.
didn't like the idea.
Well, gee, we can start a band with that name though.
No,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna go
God,
pitch.
that's
I'm gonna go pitch the Circle idea to every single band we talk to until someone
No.
takes it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That'd be like,
I think with popular enough demand and like a very strong petitions.org petition, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'll start that
Sorry.
tonight.
Yeah.
2 million signatures. Let's go.
I'll promote it too.
Well, I mean, we only have 2 million followers on Twitter, so I think that would be no
Yeah.
problem.
Damn it.
Dude, I have to
Oh,
start
2,
over.
2 million and one likes and subscribes.
Yeah.
And we'll change it.
Oh my god. Easy.
Oh, you can't.
Okay.
Gotta say.
But yeah. But yeah, that's a brief oral history of BTS and also our name.
All right.
Wonderful. Okay.
Thank you.
So congrats on your newest release, Goodwill in Conversation with Friends. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
Wow. I'll start with Tommy. Well, how do you feel the response has been to our?
I think it's fantastic. Everyone I've talked to is like, it's so good. But I don't know if it's like because they're my friends and they're like, it's so good. So like, but I think it's good. I really like it. I think it's a step up from what we had before. I feel like everything in it is a little bit more lively, brought up, and highlighted. I really like the direction we're going with our music.
Yeah, I agree. Ash, on to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say the same. A lot of the response that we've been getting from the new signal that I've been hearing is it's really good. People like it. It's a lot more lively. One thing, Steven, I did want to mention to you and would love to mention to everyone is everyone keeps telling me how much better your vocals sound on this because I know you behind doors, of course, you've just been doing a lot of like vocal work and it's showing. It really is. I can hear it. I think it sounds phenomenal. And with the song that we have, legitimately, every single time I hear it, I cry.
Oh,
Every single time, I bawl hysterically. It is such a good song. It is genuinely a work of art that I'm proud of.
Yeah. You know, I gotta
So-
say though too. Like I showed it to Brandon, and Brandon was even like, "That's a pretty good song."
Yeah.
Brandon's a tough man to please, so
Yeah, Brandon is a tough man to please.
Brandon, if you're watching this, that's just how I feel about you. I think you're great.
I gotta say, like, he's critiqued a lot of our songs.
We love you, Brandon.
And this is the first time he's listened to the song, and he was critiquing it at first, and then I played it again for him, and he's like, you know, actually I can't see anything like that's wrong with it. It sounds genuinely good. I'm like, thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Brandon. Tell him that for me later. But that's so sweet of you to say, Ash, because I have been working I was working super hard on my vocals prior to that take because I really wanted to accentuate the feeling of that song because it was something I wrote. I think I mentioned it to someone else, but it was the rare occasion that I wrote something in one day, and
This I didn't know.
yeah. It was it was during a kind of like a turning point in my life. Something major happened, and I really just felt like something needed to be expressed in a way that I could, where I was in control of how I expressed it. So I was at school one day, and I just sort of was like, "Damn, I am really feeling it today." So I got on my phone where I write all my stuff, and I just sort of started with one line, the very first line in the song, and it all sort of just poured out. And about 4 or 5 hours later, and picking up my guitar when I got home, it was basically done. And yeah, and what you hear is at least the guitars are the final composition of that. I think it was maybe 1-2 days tops, and we had played it live for a year and a half before maybe not a year and a half, more like a year before we about a year, before we finally got a recorded final version of it. It was something that we had filled a gap in our set list with, and it was crazy, the reception to that song, because we had played basically the same set for about a year prior to that, and which people loved, but the reception to this people hearing it for the first time live was very strong, and they really enjoyed it. It was originally a solo piece where kind of Tommy, Elliot, Ash would take a break, and I would play it by myself. And the response to that was great. But once we finally got the full band, we hadn't told anybody that we made a full band version of it. So when people who had been seeing us a few times saw the full band version of it, they were just like, "Oh my God, whoa!" And so I feel like a lot of people really like the new song. And what Tommy was saying was how what was it that you said? It was about how
it's a lot more lively and
Yeah.
highlighted.
Yeah, I tried to really lay into that and not make it overly complicated, because a lot of the songs that we had written in the past were very math centric and dealt with a lot of time signatures and not so linear song structures. But this one I felt really strived off of being straightforward and honest and passionate in the way that the instruments are played and not how they're written necessarily. And I think the response to that has been really positive. Some people were like, "Oh, this is different," but a lot of people seem to take a very strong empathetic sort of connectivity to it, and it's really something. And this is the first song that Tommy had ever recorded vocals on, or that's released.
Yeah, it's the first song on any of our stuff that I recorded anything on. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not even part of the first.
Well,
That's exciting.
to be honest, I did record pretty much everything before I even hired anybody to the band.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't really find like a spot for you on the EP. I even did all the drums. Like this is the first time Ash has like composed drums for a song that's been released for the band as well. I mean, we collaborated on the first EP, but it was mostly me just.
It was mostly already written, and
you're
just like, "Hey, I want you to look over this and make some changes you think that would fit." And I was like, "Can do." So we
right,
did.
yeah.
And then whatever was final, I just learned and I played live.
Yeah, and but you know, this song is like the first time that I've had them in the studio, like bringing their talents on recordings, and I think Ash's drums like really brought the song to life, and it really adds this energy and emotional power to every hit is just nuts on that song after what he did. And with Tommy, I didn't really we didn't really have a plan for like what he was going to record for that song, but I had recorded the last part of the song by myself, and I was like, God, I don't know what this is missing. And then Tommy was like, I have an idea. And so after he sang over my parts with me, and I got a mix file back, like our recording engineer was like, you're gonna love to hear this. And so Tommy's voice just like booms on the track, and it like washed over me in this sense of like really content, like happiness. It was like coming alive, and it eventually ended up being what it is now. And I think it's something that's very special to us, this song, because of that. Anyway, that was a very long explanation.
That was very long. You answered like most of our questions in that.
Yeah, honestly.
So we're like, okay, so what questions do we ask after this? So I have one. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this? Because you kind of dove into it a little bit there, but yeah.
I mean, really, I guess to elaborate on it, I'm the primary songwriter of the band. I do take suggestions from my bandmates when I show them new things, like at practice. When we used to have practices 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah. So, little side note: this is the first time we're talking to each other with our voices in 6 months.
Holy shit!
So,
Oh, wow.
This is very.
I see Ash like every week now.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
well-
you do. Well, now you do, but
Yeah, I live 50 miles away from them, so I don't get to see them. But anyway, the writing process. Yeah, so my writing process for this release is kind of how I usually. Although I did it really quickly, it is similar to my other writing processes in the past with my other songs. It's really, it kind of is produced in pieces where I kind of have, sometimes I have the lyrics to the song before I even know what it sounds like, or vice versa. I write the composition before I have the lyrics. And this was the case where I had just, like I said before, like I poured out all the lyrics in basically one go. I did some touching up later on and changing some things around, but I'd say like 95% of what the lyrics are is what they are on the first draft. And because of that, it really provided this really raw kind of experience for me. And earlier on that week, I was noodling around with like some chord progressions and some melodies on the guitar and trying new things different to our first release. And so I eventually found this sort of simplistic but like slow and meditative kind of chord progression melody with an accompanying lead guitar to it that I thought would really fit what I had written very nicely. So I spent maybe a week practicing how where the vocal melodies go and what parts have what, and I tried to go for this sort of semi-linear song structure where really where it kind of builds and builds and brews over 4 minutes, and eventually leads to this explosion of kind of a catharsis, I guess, because it's meant to tell a story in one song, in a way, of a decline and then a sudden kind of uplifting event, I guess, that sort of powers through what I was suffering through earlier in the song. Because even though I hadn't really overcome what I was going through, writing it kind of provided that kind of solace and sort of push to help me get through it quicker. And of course, bringing it to the live setting and bringing it to the bandmates helped kind of create this empathetic kind of bubble around me as I perform it, that allows me to express that and find a comfort in it. So that was basically how the process goes. Kind of write it, show it to the guys, and then play it live and see if it sticks.
All right.
Yeah.
So I want you to imagine that there's a new listener checking out this podcast, checking out you guys. They've never listened to your stuff before, and they're like, okay, what does their stuff sound like? I want you to describe your music in 3 words.
Tommy, you want to try? Oh, Ash, you have it?
Yeah, go Ash.
Crying in calculus.
Oh my god.
That's very accurate.
That's it.
Oh my god.
Crying in calculus.
That's
This is
beautiful.
something that Ash has
I've been
come up
saying
with
that
before.
literally since you picked me up at Applebee's at 2 a.m. telling me, hey, I want to be in the band. I'm like, I already have an idea for what this is going to be. Crying in calculus. Math rock or emo. We got some twinkly bits. Crying in calculus.
Perfect.
Oh my god! I should have
That's the way I
known.
describe it.
I should have known right when she asked that Ash had an idea. He was going to bring this up.
Yeah, crying in calculus. I mean, I
I
would
love
have
that, though.
said more like, struggle, relief, and community, because that's like one of the biggest things with our band, that whenever we play live, like the audience that are they're watching us, a lot of the times their feedback is like, I really love your music because it's really like uniting to each other. Like it's an emotion that everyone can feel, and everyone can see the emotion that we're projecting and be along with us on the same page.
Exactly, and I feel exactly the same way as Tommy. Community is a huge part of it, so that's definitely one of the words I would use. The community that we've grown to be a part of, is like nothing we've ever had before, and that sort of binding force is really what allowed us to do what we do for the last 2.5 years. And I would say honesty is another one, because it really, we try to be open about these things. We've given speeches at our shows about things in our lives and made so many friends through these shows and through this that we find we can have our trust in and speak about our daily lives, friends that we sometimes talk to every day or very often, and having that honesty really is an attractive thing, for members of our scene, being, speaking plainly, being very upfront about how you feel. It's wonderful. And, I'm kind of blanking on a third word.
I mean, like I
Man,
was
you
gonna
guys-
add it. It's like even like some of my friends who come to the shows, they even like cry during our shows because they really feel the emotion that we're putting off, you know. And coming from the standpoint of being in this band, and I was in another band at the same time we were playing too, there was like completely different like moods for each band. I was in like a indie surf rock band, and they literally just made music to make music. And yeah, it was fun, you know, people jammed and they danced and stuff, and everyone would go crazy and wild, but it's not the same feeling as I have in Palm Tree Square. In Palm Tree Square, like you're in the room and you feel like you're connected with everybody.
Yeah. You're in the room and like you're having an experience with everyone else, but everyone else is also having that same feeling at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's a really, like you guys said earlier, it's like a really uniting type of thing. And like Tommy said too, like I'll be back behind drums just playing, and I'll look in the crowd and scan back and forth and just see people. There's at least one person at every show that I see. Usually it's a different person crying. There's usually at least one. At least one.
I never noticed that.
Me. Well, yeah, you also have lights in your face most of the time.
That's true. They do like to shine light in the tall guy's face.
Yeah. I can see the crowd most of the time. Not always. Depends on the venue. But most of the time I can see the crowd.
Oh, so I guess a third word would be, at least for me, nostalgia. Because I think there's a lot of sensitivity and like a lot of introspection that comes with our type of music. And I feel like, you know, feelings that are portrayed in these songs that we make, a lot of those feelings they sometimes last a while, but they are temporary in one way or another. And, you know, the hardships that we write, you know, that I write about and that we express in our songs, I feel like at least when I listen back to our old music, it kind of gives me this nostalgic feeling because it's like, it's not like I'm remembering times where I felt these different ways, but really the community that surrounded me as I would express them on the stage. You know, it would give me this feeling of, you know, hominess and being part of something that, you know, PTS isn't going to last forever. It's going to be a memory to us eventually, but it'll be a big part of our lives that, you know, I think we'll never forget and are immortalized in these different ways. You know, everybody that buys a tape or a shirt, you know, it's a way of preserving our legacy. If, you know, if one or two people remember us 20 years from now, at least they have something that from that time, you know. Like we just saw on Twitter today that someone bought one of our Knife Punch Records like exclusive splatter tapes, and they said it was the first tape they had ever bought. Like,
oh, that's so cool.
like how special is that? Like I was like, my heart like literally just like exploded into like confetti when I read that. and like, you know, it's like, who can say that like they had bought like that they bought their band's cassette as their first ever cassette purchase? Mm-hmm. It's insane. Like what are the odds of that? And I think that really plays into like the nostalgia factor, because it, you know, I feel like at some point, like I'll look at our old stuff and be like, wow, that was really something. I wish it could last forever, but it's going to last forever in one way or another, even if we're not playing together anymore. This isn't like a prelude to us saying like we're breaking up.
Steven, it sounds like you're going to start making some people nervous.
You know what, guys? It's been good.
It's done.
But, you know,
it's over.
It's forever.
But no, it's more so, you know, it is something that I think about a lot, is like, you know, who knows how long we get to experience this wonderful thing, because whenever we're on stage together, it feels like a lifetime that we've been doing this. Mm-hmm. And it's feels like we've been doing this for years, and it's like something I don't want to give up. But I feel like eventually nostalgia is a thing that, you know, people who really enjoyed seeing us and still enjoy like keeping and following up with us and listening to our music. Like, I feel like that's going to be a big thing for, you know, how we remember our time together.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very wholesome. I love it.
thank you.
Um,
It's been a long time since I've seen these guys, so I'm very, very happy.
so, are there any new projects in the works? Is this single leading up to something bigger?
Well, it feels like a crime saying it's too early to say, but we have been working on something for the past year, basically.
Mhm.
A very much larger project that this is one facet in. I would say one of 12 facets, I would say.
Ooh.
Well, it's
wait.
it's a project we are working on. It's coming in due time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you can probably figure out what it is.
Read the context,
but-
please.
Yeah. And COVID hit, and like it's really put a dampener on everything. So this project, it's just taking a bit longer than it realistically I want it to. But I understand there's a bunch of factors that are varying into this, mostly related to COVID-19.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Is everything that we record is over in Daytona Beach, basically. So I live in Orlando, and that's 50 miles away. So it's kind of a tough deal, but we have been working on it. It's funny because we were little insider scoop. We were basically almost done with it, and then the pandemic hit. So
We were like
Yeah.
2 weeks, 4 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that.
It's
was
so
it.
tantalizingly close to being done, but it is going to be our like biggest and like kind of, I would say, like the most ambitious thing we've worked on, and it's basically doubles in time what the EP is. It's twice as long, and it's the most like, I would say it's my most honest piece of writing I've ever done in my life. And it really digs deep in a lot of different things. It's about all sorts of experiences and people. And it's something that we really want to finish. And we're actively trying to figure out how we can finish it.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing right now. We're just like bouncing back and forth on like what can we do to make this progress, and right now it's just difficult with the distance and timing of everything.
It's very difficult.
With Steven living in Orlando, I work full time. I know Tommy's working full time now. I'm also doing college online. So it's like I'm occupied. If I'm not sleeping, I'm either doing homework or I'm at work, and that's pretty much it. Maybe occasionally I'm playing video games to get like an hour in or something. And then Elliot goes to college full time, and I know he's absolutely slammed.
Yeah.
The college he attends, I won't say anything for personal reasons, but the college he attends, I know is incredibly difficult because I've been there myself, and it is a lot of time that he has to spend doing just homework alone. It's quite literally a full-time and a part-time job at the same time for what he does. It's hard. It's rough. I've actually been in his shoes, and it's not easy.
Yeah, you have to be really devoted to that if you want to get through it.
Yeah. And
I worked part-time and went to that school, and, well, let's just say I withdrew before they failed me out.
Yeah.
Let's say that. I withdrew before they kicked me out.
it happens. Yeah. And in addition to that, I work part-time and also am finishing off a college degree. So, between our schedules and just trying to coordinate.
And our engineer's a nurse overnight, so like,
Yeah.
That's true.
that's even harder
Yeah.
because he's asleep during the day.
all the people we record with have other stuff going on, so it's tough. But I would say, yeah, as far as next projects go, we want to finish it. It is twice as long as our first release, and this will be the first single off of it. And it's very exciting.
So exciting. It
Thank
sounds very awesome.
you. I hope it is.
Well, if it goes the way that our single has been and been getting as positive a response as our single has, I mean, it's going to be great. That's just the way it's going to come out.
I
It's going
hope
to be great.
so. Oh my gosh.
I almost didn't know how to phrase that.
That's okay. It's okay. It's late. It's late. It's getting late in the day, brother.
Yeah.
I get it.
So where do you see the band in the next 5 years?
Wow. So, all right, 5-year plan, guys. What do you think?
We'll just switch it up. I'll play guitar. You play bass. Ash can play the jaw harp. Elliot
Oh yeah.
I want to play jaw harp.
You want to play the jaw harp? Jaw harp's fun.
No. Oh god, here he goes.
What is?
Jaw harp. Oh god, there he goes.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid you're gonna like break the little metal arm off and it'll shoot down your throat.
Oh my god!
I'm waiting for him to chip a tooth.
Why would that happen? Why would that happen?
I don't know. You got it at a dollar store.
No, this one's better. It was like $12.
Okay, fine.
You got it at the $12 store.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god!
But yeah, it's
5 years.
sorry. as you were saying, Ash.
My personal thoughts, 5 years from now, hopefully still playing. Times right now are very uncertain, just simply because of the pandemic that's going on. Everywhere that we want to play, can play, and used to play, is closed.
Yeah,
Indefinitely, basically.
Yeah, and not to
So-
mention, like, everything is, you know, we have this save our stages thing going on right now because these venues have no support.
They have no income.
Yeah,
They have no income to keep the business going. So you have no money, you have no business. That's it.
Right. It's
And venues are a business, unless we want to go play in the middle of the woods.
we have done that before.
Which I will say we've done 3 times.
I'd
Three
go to watch
times.
you guys in the middle of the woods.
3 times.
Oh.
Sounds
There
like
was
a way to
Label?
get murdered
You-
by Tommy
do you
over there.
count,
There
Do
was.
you count bat ranches in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, that had a venue. They literally built the venue for
It was
road
a barn.
Okay, twice. Twice.
That's true. It was a barn, but
Lake Wreck was on a barn, but it was located in the middle of nowhere. Like, it was just a bunch of forest everywhere and a dirt road that took you out of the venue. That was it.
That's
It was
true.
literally on a farm.
I like
Quite
it.
literally, it was on a farm.
It was super
Okay.
cool though.
It was
But,
a great show. I loved it.
They
It
had
was
one
so
of those
cool.
little springy
Wait, so that-
rides, you know.
Wait, so that's where you guys see the band in the next 5 years?
no, that's,
All right,
we hit
sorry, we
a,
all got thrown off.
It's
we got
okay.
thrown off. But no, for me, I would say I would hope to have with the band out for the next 5 years. I would say that I foresee us having 2 more albums out by that point.
Oh wow.
Well, depending on how quickly we can get it out, but it's just one of those things where I constantly have ideas and they all seem like PTS ideas. So I feel like I have enough material for a couple more albums right now, and some other weird concept ideas that I have in my brain. So hopefully we'll have that out too. I haven't told you guys about those ones.
Weird
I've got-
concept ideas in my brain.
We'll just make a meme album just as a one-off. Maybe a
Oh
couple
my
times.
God.
Yo, can we have a cover album?
With
Yo,
never enough by
I
One
have the
Direction on
cover
it.
finished.
What? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! That's not a bad idea. A cover.
That's what I'm saying. Cover album, only Ween.
Only Ween. I would love to do Ween. Tommy, you don't even know how cool it would be to do Ween covers. For a
I would
whole
love
album.
to do a Ween cover.
but yeah, so as far as where the band, where it would go, I would love to have a couple more albums out, to cover all these ideas that I have and that we have. And I would love to, hopefully if public health is in a good place, I would love to go on our first tour. That would be so wicked, so cool.
If this new job comes through, I get 3 weeks paid vacation right off the bat, so I'm definitely willing to go on tour.
There it is. There it is.
Willing to go on tour.
In addition to that, I don't know. I would love to I really wouldn't change anything that we're doing other than playing more shows, more, connecting with more people, meeting more bands, and keep making music like we've been doing and finding new ways to express ourselves and to connect with people. That's what I would love to do over the next 5 years, for sure. And I don't know. That's just something that I think we would agree with, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with Steven. 5 years from now, I'd like to have a couple more albums out.
Oh yeah.
Definitely have a tour under my belt at some point, even if it's not a month or a quarter of the year. Even if it's just a week where we all pack into a van with a trailer and just go and play shows.
And also press vinyl.
I have
Get on
Oh,
press
bet,
vinyl.
bet.
That is
have
something
one-
I want to do. I
one
definitely want to press vinyl.
condition for the 5 years though. You have to let me put the jaw harp on one of the albums.
Fine,
God.
okay.
Fine, you can have the jaw harp.
So we're gonna have tours,
Boycotting.
vinyls, and jar harp.
Yeah, exactly. Experimental.
God damn. Are we gonna press the album that's got the harp on it? That's
I gotta bust out the ocarina now if we're gonna get experimental.
We'll find a place for it.
all right.
Oh,
Give me the
man.
last note on the last song of that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Just
god.
we'll
Noted the
really
first
distort
song.
it so you don't
So you
even
can-
know what it
yeah,
is.
you
It's
can't
just really
tell.
ominous.
Exactly. Oh god, that'd be horrible.
Add a ton of reverb and a ton of distortion and just one note.
Okay. So, I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we have spoken to has said it's the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Man.
Is that controversial? No way you're speaking up.
I heard someone say blue. Which one?
That
of you
was
said
that was
blue?
That was me.
Okay. I turned away. I was like,
You
said blue.
know, I was a red guy for a long time, but I gotta say my favorite color now is green.
there it goes. My favorite color is red. If the big red wall behind me wasn't a dead giveaway. Color red represents love and it represents passion. That's why I like it.
Very
Solid.
insightful. I like that.
All right.
And but yeah, blue is mine. I blue blue cable. That's
God.
the first thing I saw. But yeah, blue's been my favorite color since I was a kid. I got blue eyes. Always wanted a blue guitar. I don't know. Blue's pretty neat in my book.
Blue's pretty
That
neat.
is a very important question. I do like that question.
Thank you. We thought very hard about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as I said, that's all the questions
Wait,
we have today.
did Tommy say his favorite?
Yeah, it was green.
It was green? I didn't hear. I heard
Oh,
blue.
pay attention, Glory.
Sorry.
So,
Whoa.
before I was
Whoa.
rudely interrupted by Glory, as I said,
I'm gonna
that's all the
cry.
questions we have today. Is there anything you'd like
Oh
to
my
plug?
Oh man, that's wonderful. I really appreciate being here. By the way, this has been this is our first ever podcast. This has been
Yo.
Yo.
this has been such a cool thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've done one other interview in the past, and that was for I think a review show.
Yeah, it was a live stream on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's right.
I remember.
And,
Yeah, it's through Knife Punch Records.
Yeah, too much,
Oh.
too much
Yeah.
pressure
Shout out
for
Knife
me.
Punch.
Shout out Night Punch. But yeah, I this has been such a cool experience, and you folks are wonderful, and it's been wonderful to talk to you guys. You have anything else for us?
Nah, just if you want to plug anything.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Now's
shameless.
the important
shameless,
time. Shameless plug
shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs.
time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's on Instagram and Facebook. We are Palm Tree Square.
Yes, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on. I think we're on Last FM. We're on all streaming services. Stream our new single, Goodwill and Conversations with Friends. Go to saveourstages.com. Sign that fucking petition. Save our stages. Hashtag save our stages. And be nice to everybody, y'all. Don't be stupid.
Yes.
Be a genuinely good person. If you wouldn't say it to your grandma, don't say it to another person.
Oh, also, I want to plug my buddy real quick. This is backwards on the stream, but this is my buddy Nick Ignafo, who he has credits on all of our music as the recording engineer, but he also makes his own music, and we love him very much. We've known him for so many years, and that was the dude I used to be in the band with, Shadowwall, and he's wonderful. So stream his music too.
Stream Nick's music.
Right.
Stream Nick's music.
Stream Nick's music. So, guys,
Nick Ignafo is just okay.
thank you for coming on. This has been Palm Tree Square, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.